Meanwhile, big details emerging from Jammu and Kashmir. According to security forces, in the last 6 months, about 45 infiltration attempts were foiled along the border. Last year, the Indian Army foiled 10 infiltration attempts from the LOC and killed 25 terrorists trying to infiltrate. On the other side of the LOC, in Pak-occupied Kashmir, about 42 terrorist launch pads are active at present, in which 110 to 130 terrorists are suspected to be there. About 35 to 40 of these launch pads are on the other side of Kashmir, and the rest of the launch pads are opposite Kashmir, Rajouri and Poonch. It is estimated that 125 to 130 terrorists are actively engaged in Jammu and Kashmir at the moment. Now, about 70 to 75 terrorists are actively in Kashmir Valley itself. 60 to 65 terrorists are active in the areas of Jammu, Rajouri as well as Poonch. Now, there are 107 terrorist incidents in 2022. At least 27 such incidents took place in 2023 and 26 events which happened in 2024. Now, 3 such incidents took place till the end of March this year. Last year, terrorists carried out many big incidents in Jammu. 186 terrorists were killed in Jammu and Kashmir in 2022. 76 terrorists were killed in 2023 and 70 terrorists are eliminated so far. In fact, we have with us Major General Jagatbir Singh, retired, who's a defense expert. Major General, I mean, there have been so much of effort right now to ensure that infiltration bids are foiled. The big question has always been that why is it we couldn't secure the LOC and what future should we in fact be seeing when it comes to the international border as well as the LOC, where Pakistan has been constantly trying to have infiltration bids, and despite the whole, the ceasefire for quite so many years, this seems to be a constant irritant on the part of Pakistan, that is to push trained terrorists into India.
Well, spoken very correctly about Pakistan's bid to constantly push trained terrorists into India. And if you look back into time, into history, Pakistan has fought 4 conventional wars with India, each initiated in a different manner by them, and they have suffered heavily in each one of those wars. So, as a result of which, they decided to carry out 2 things. One is to go nuclear, which they did post their nuclear tests in 1998. And the other is, which they had started earlier, which was this thing of bleeding India by 1,000 cuts, which actually had started post their, operation in Afghanistan, post their experience in Afghanistan. And you also had a situation where the Pakistan Defense Minister has himself admitted on television that they have been supporting terrorists at that time, and he said that they were doing it at the behest of the West. So since then, they have been constantly pushing in terrorists since the mid 80s, which have carried on till now. Now you've seen the valley, there are surges in terrorism, it comes down at times, you contain it. There have been massive amount of, steps which have been taken over the years, particularly in the recent past. The terrain is such that it's physically impossible to ban each and every inch of the terrain. So, how do you do it? You hold certain points, you hold certain areas, you hold certain places from where they come in, and you have electronic surveillance, you have a fence. So, there are multiple means, but yet no mean is foolproof. You saw what happened in Gaza, where they had invested so much in the smartest fence, so to say, and yet the Hamas came across. So you can't say that this is hermetically sealed and not a single terrorist will come across. The issue is that once they come across, how do you deal with them? How do you reduce the number of terrorists coming across? And what action you take to deter any terrorists coming across? And I think these steps are being taken continuously by the government of the country. And we have seen a substantial reduction in terrorism, but incidents like this Black Swan event, so to say, which happened the other day, will occur because you saw a large influx of tourists in the valley. So when there's a large influx of tourists, they were taken as an easy target, and it's unfortunate. And we all know that all this terrorists and their terrorism activity come from bases across the line of control. And for the past 2 years, there was a ceasefire existing on the line of control. And I think it's now time when that ceasefire has to be reviewed. And the line of control has to be reactivated again.
Line of control, of course, it has been seen as a de facto border, but it's always been a very, very active border. There have been instances of this border action teams also targeting Indian soldiers when it comes to the LOC as well as the international border. So you have Pak regulars and you have Pak irregulars as well, trained terrorists like this who are pushed in. So what is the strategy that Pakistan is looking at? Because over here, on one side with terrorists, they want to go for plausible deniability, but at the same time, they have professional army also carrying on with attacks. And I've been asking this question for the last 2-3 days. Whom do you speak in Pakistan? You don't have a civil administration. You don't know. You're speaking to the army. Who is holding sway over that country?
Well, to answer that second question is easier. There is no doubt that the Pakistan army is always held sway over the country. So if you have to speak to someone, you have to speak to the army. But you know the way the army is talking these days. You know, the army chief made certain statements of talking of a two-nation theory. Yesterday you also had, which is surprising, the Pakistan defense attaché in London speaking in or gesturing in a total undiplomatic manner and absolutely conduct unbecoming of the position he holds, which is reflective of the mindset and the attitude of the both the Pakistan establishment and the Pakistan army. And he's holding a placard of Abhinandan. So I mean, no military professional officer will do this. So the answer remains: can you speak to them? Absolutely. There have been means to speak to the Pakistan hierarchy as far as hotlines and all are concerned, but there'll be no formal talks at all. And the next thing is that look at the way they've degenerated themselves. They've funded terror as an organization. This thing they've, creating crisis in India. They want to divide us, on religious lines, and that is exactly what their game plan is. We have to be vigilant. We have to be united. We have to be strong in our response, and we have to be committed in eradicating terrorism. And we have to also, at the same time, uh, expose Pakistan to all the other nations of the world. And this is what they're doing.
Stay with us. Let's listen to what the Prime Minister of Pakistan had to say. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said that he's ready for a neutral investigation of the terror attack in Pahalgam. Now, the terror attack has triggered high-level diplomatic and security responses from government against Pakistan, which has been accused of harboring the handlers and backers of the terrorist group. Now, addressing a graduation ceremony in Pakistan Military Academy in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Kakul, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said that the country is open in taking part in a credible investigation. He further said that Pakistan has always condemned terrorism in all its forms as well as manifestation. This is what Shehbaz Sharif is in fact saying. Major General, we have seen how Pakistan has been giving a sense of civility when it comes to this issue, especially when it comes to saying that we are ready for a neutral probe. We will get those who are responsible held for this. You give us the right evidence. All this is being said on one hand, but the action has always been 180-degree to what they say. This is just trying to buy time, isn't it?
You see, absolutely. I don't think you should fall for the rhetoric, what they're saying. What they'll say will always be to protect themselves, to protect this, and to divert the attention elsewhere. They also said, somebody I've heard that's trying to say that there's a false flag event. I mean, staged. I mean, these are all ridiculous allegations. And even to mention these, I think, is absolutely incorrect. But as you go back in history, they denied Lashkars coming in 1947-48. Were they there? Answer is absolutely. They denied what they did in Operation Gibraltar in 1965. Again, traced back. They denied that Pakistan regulars had come in and occupied Kargil Heights in 1999. What happened thereafter? They denied every other action. You take Parliament, they denied. They denied Mumbai. They've denied Pulwama. So This is their narrative. I mean, surely we won't go by what he says, order a neutral probe and all that. I mean, it's ridiculous. And now somebody's saying that, what evidence? I mean, India's got the evidence. We know how it's happened. I'm sure that's all there. But I mean, for a neutral probe, it's not there. They have to take responsibility for their actions. Have they taken any action to get rid of the terror bases over there? Have they taken any action to against the so-called ideologues of the JEM and LET? The answer is no. So they know exactly what they're doing. This is part of their state policy to abet terrorism in India, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're using terrorism as an instrument of of state policy.